So now for the moment many of us have been waiting for, our federal counselor and head of the Federal Department of Defense, Viola Amherd's address. I must say that I am particularly excited about this. If you remember, if you were here for the intro, I mentioned that we started organizing all of this event in early 2019, and it just so happens that Viola Amherd took her position in this current role just a few weeks earlier. Unfortunately, because we had to postpone twice, and she has a busy schedule, we're not able to have her with us live today, but she did record a video that we will be playing for you. And as a bonus, after the video, 2 of our colleagues will be available to answer some of your questions regarding cybersecurity at the highest levels of our country. So take a minute to appreciate what is happening and what it means. To me, it means that what we're trying to achieve here is important, not just for me personally, but for Switzerland and for the highest ranks of the country. So enough from me. Without further ado, I will give the floor to Viola Amherd. Please make sure everybody is muted, otherwise we will be hearing a whole lot of echoes.
Liebe Frauen, sehr geehrte Herren, ich freue mich, zu Ihnen zu sprechen, wenn auch nur per Video. Die Idee finde ich großartig, einen Anlass mit Fachexpertinnen zu organisieren, die auf der Bühne stehen und über die Herausforderungen in der Informatik und im Cyberbereich berichten. Es ist wichtig, jungen Frauen aufzuzeigen, dass es im Bereich Informatik und Cyber spannende und interessante Aufgaben gibt. Gerne gebe ich Ihnen mit dieser Videobotschaft einige Einblicke in den wachsenden Cyberbereich der Armee. Wahrscheinlich ist vielen Menschen nicht bewusst, dass die IKT und der Bereich Cyber in der Armee eine zentrale Rolle spielen. Wussten Sie, dass die Armee ein eigenes, robustes und unabhängiges Verbindungsnetz hat und dieses ausbaut? Während die Kabel von Telekom-Providern in Brücken die Täler überwinden, werden die Kabel der Armee am Boden entlang durch Täler und Seen geführt. So sind sie geschützt gegen Einflüsse von Naturgefahren oder auch Waffeneinwirkung. Das Gleiche gilt für die Rechenzentren der Armee. Wir bauen diese im Fels, um die höchstmögliche physische Sicherheit für die Daten und die Verbindungen zu garantieren. Nebst dem physischen Schutz schenken wir auch dem virtuellen Schutz größte Aufmerksamkeit. Alles, um dem Grundauftrag der Armee als letzte Sicherheitsreserve des Landes gerecht zu werden. Die Armee muss auch dann noch funktionieren, wenn der Strom ausfällt oder zivile Provider keine Verbindung mehr herstellen können. Wir gehen zudem der Frage nach, ob Cybersoldatinnen und Soldaten bei Cyberangriffen gegen Unternehmen und kritische Infrastrukturen eingesetzt werden könnten. Anstelle von Sanitätssoldatinnen, wie während der Corona-Pandemie, würden bei solchen Vorfällen unsere Cyberspezialisten ausrücken. Wichtig ist jedoch, die Institutionen müssen sich in erster Linie selber schützen können. Aktuell unterstützen die Cyber-Milizsoldaten unsere Berufsorganisation. Das sind diejenigen Fachkräfte, welche bei der Armee im Bereich der IKT, der Cybersecurity oder in der Cyberdefense arbeiten. Diese Berufsleute brauchen Unterstützung, um die Durchhaltefähigkeit auszubauen. Insbesondere bei zeit- und personenintensiven Arbeiten oder auch, um bei Ernsteinsätzen, wie zum Beispiel beim WEF, zu helfen. Aufgaben, die sie dabei erledigen, sind beispielsweise der präventive Schutz und die Sicherheitsüberwachung unserer Systeme, die Detektion und Abwehr von Angriffen oder die vertiefte Analyse von Cyberangriffen und Schwachstellen. Im Bereich Cyber gibt es in der Armee sehr spannende Aufgaben. Ich freue mich, dass wir bereits zahlreiche Frauen anstellen konnten. Aus meiner Sicht sollten es jedoch noch viele mehr sein. Eine Frage, die wir oft beantworten, ist jene nach der Bedrohung. Warum braucht die Schweiz heute überhaupt noch eine Armee? Die heutigen Bedrohungen sind diffus. Es geht nicht mehr in erster Linie um den Feind, der physisch und bewaffnet an unserer Grenze steht. Es geht um Sabotageakte, Spionage, Desinformationen bis hin zur Destabilisierung eines Landes, oft durch unbekannte Akteure. Solche Aktionen werden heute vielfach im Cyberraum geführt und durch Mittel aus den anderen Sphären wie Boden und Luft ergänzt. Im Fokus der Bedrohungsszenarien steht der urbane Raum, der mittlerweile einen großen Teil der Schweiz umfasst. Den zu sichern ist eine Herausforderung. Um den diffusen Bedrohungsszenarien begegnen zu können, brauchen wir Fähigkeiten, die einwandfrei miteinander harmonieren und aufeinander abgestimmt sind. Sei dies am Boden, in der Luft, aber auch im Cyberraum. Die IKT bildet dabei das verbindende Element. Im Gegensatz zu den herkömmlichen Truppen mit Gewehr und Kanone sind die Cybertruppen und Cyberspezialistinnen das ganze Jahr im Einsatz, denn die IKT-Systeme der Armee werden regelmäßig angegriffen. Im Jahr 2020 gab es beispielsweise 250 Angriffe auf die IKT-Systeme der Armee in verschiedenen Kategorien, wobei keiner der Vorfälle in die Kategorie kritisch fiel. Solche Angriffe eröffnen ein weiteres spannendes Feld. Die Armee verfügt auch über offensive Cyberfähigkeiten. Diese dürfen nur mit der Einwilligung des Bundesrates eingesetzt werden. Die Neutralität der Schweiz gilt ebenfalls im Cyberraum, auch wenn die rechtlichen Aspekte in vielen Bereichen des Cyberraums noch nicht klar definiert sind. Aber auch hier sind wir primär eine Verteidigungsarmee. Um erfolgreich verteidigen zu können, müssen wir wissen, wie angegriffen wird. Gerade diesen Frühling haben wir mit der Strategie Cyber VBS einen wichtigen Grundstein gelegt für all diese Themen. Sie finden die Strategie auf unserer Homepage. Was klar ist, die Bedeutung der IKT und des Bereichs Cyber in der Armee nimmt stetig zu. Und wir sind immer auf der Suche nach den besten Cybertalenten. Im Jahr 2021 haben die ersten Frauen den Cyberlehrgang der Armee erfolgreich absolviert. Wenn Sie sich für diese Art von Militärdienst interessieren und die Anforderungen erfüllen, können auch Sie eine militärische Cyberspezialistin werden. Als Ergänzung zu den Aktivitäten in der Privatwirtschaft bietet Ihnen der Cyberlehrgang eine spannende Ausbildung im Cyberbereich der Armee und Sie können erst recht ein Zeugnis, ein Diplom als Cyberspezialistin erarbeiten. Liebe Frauen, es braucht Sie. Es braucht Sie als Fachkräfte, insbesondere aber als Vorbilder für andere Frauen und Mädchen, die den spannenden Bereich der Informatik oder Cyber noch nicht für sich entdeckt haben. Machen Sie in Ihrem Umfeld Werbung, bei Ihrer Tochter, Ihrer Nichte, an der Schule Ihres Wohnorts, am Gymnasium, das Sie besucht haben. Das Potenzial der Frauen in der IKT ist enorm. Helfen Sie mit, dieses Potenzial zu wecken, zu entwickeln und zu entfalten. Es braucht sie, überall. Für den Wirtschaftsplatz Schweiz, für die Sicherheit der Schweiz, denn Sicherheit ist auch weiblich. So auch die Cybersicherheit.
Good afternoon, lovely to be here. I'm here as part of the team, of course, of Minister Viola Amherd. I'm from the office of her Chief Information Officer, Roger Michlig, who sent me here today to speak at this very important event. With me here is from our technical team, Uli Amsler.
Hello.
He is the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer of the Armed Forces Command Support. So in his area, all of the techies, and I represent the political part, the communication part, and would like to sort of close the circle a little. I listened to Monica Rath earlier this afternoon, and can confirm much of what she said. For women, things are changing a lot. Also in our department or ministry, in Switzerland we call it Department of Defense, Civil Protection and Sports. And much is changing, and you feel it through the ranks. And I think much is owed to our councillor, Viola Amherd. There is a lot going on, right down to the armed forces. That's the part where I spent 8.5 years in as a civilian before this job that I'm in now. And I can say, yes, when you speak to uniformed officers of the armed forces, it's a very good time for women to join, also join in our jobs. We heard Monica, she's from the National Centre of Cybersecurity, so that's the government's primary security part. And in that, our ministry plays the role of cyber defense in our government. But of course, within the ministry, we look at not only cyber defense, but cyber security. That's why the jobs that we have a whole different range. So imagine it's summer now, you want to go out and buy a hat, you go to your favorite department store, a huge amount of hats there on display. That's exactly the cyber jobs we have in our ministry, ranging from the technological side, science, politics, communication, governance. Obviously, the core part being a defense, and the part where Uli over here works in. So it's a very interesting part. Security policy is this part that is within our ministry. Right today, now our intelligence service has published its latest report, one point being an increasing amount of cyber espionage. So yes, as we've seen before, very important as ever. We see a lot, like Miriam said in her speech, the responsibilities, who's supposed to take care of what for the government. A lot is being negotiated, and the different ministries and departments are of course in close contact and dialogue. That's also very exciting. So anything cyber security and policy, you get in touch with all this kind of exchange within a government and in a fast changing area. And just also want to confirm what we've heard before is the same for our jobs. What does it take for a woman to come into cyber job in our ministry? First of all, of course, curiosity, passion. If you go into the techie part, of course, IT or at any degree, natural or applied sciences. And I think we mustn't forget all those women who have a mathematics degree. Often there's a strong focus on IT, but I hear a lot, maths is very, very sought after. Come in, we'll teach you the rest. I speak to lots of people that have freshly joined, young women, and they say it's very different to what they expected. You're not there sitting in a dark room just programming away all day long. It's teamwork. But yes, you need perseverance, you need analytic skills, and keen competencies in problem solving. So, and I can confirm what Miriam also said, you have to communicate maybe a little differently if you're dealing with people from the armed forces, although I can say from experience, it's not as different as you'd think. They may wear what we call their multicolored pajamas or the combat suit. They may look different. They're actually no different beneath. And I've experienced a huge amount of support for women. Of course, a lot just plain normal interaction where it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man. So that's the ideal part. We work in a team, and that's how we want it to be as well. And so I think we can all confirm it's to set aside biases, just go for it, and we have to try and motivate young women to come in, to find the right information, about what we have, all the exciting fields and areas. And if you know anybody who's interested, let them know. Anyone can contact me directly as well, tell them anything I've experienced. And it would be great for everyone to have a job that fascinates and challenges you from day to day. And I have, so it's wonderful. So happy to take any questions that you might have.
Yeah, there are actually already 2 questions in there. So the first from Virpi. What is the scope of cyber defense training, which Ms. Amherd was mentioning in her video?
Okay, first of all, I'm very proud I can be here, and I think I'm the only man on the speakers list. I think I'm not sure, perhaps it's the fact that I feel a little bit dizzy, or perhaps it's the high-level audience that you have here in the call. I like to answer the questions. I think the education that we have in defense training, we have more than 800 hours, I think, that we educate. We have also 12-week practical training, hands-on keyboard in the different environments in the Security Operations Center, some people in the military CERT team. They learn scripting, tool training, to work in a SOC as a first-level analyst. They learn also to build or to draw the cyber situation picture. They do some threat intel stuff. They also learn some active methods to learn how to defend them. I hope that answered the question.
I think so, yes. And another one, what are the biggest cyber challenges you face in your department?
I think for me, it is to find the right people, to find the right people for the challenging job that we have to do first in the Security Operations Center, and also to build a powerful team, because we have different people with different linguistic backgrounds, and to form a good team. I think this is really a hard challenge for us. Yes.
And I think, so there's a question here about the difference between your former jobs and your current ones in the Swiss Armed Forces. And I think you both have, or as you mentioned, Ruth, backgrounds civilian. So is there any large differences that you see in those 2 worlds?
On my part, okay, thanks. Yeah, sorry, I have time. But we're a team. Not a large difference. Having said that, I've been a civilian in both roles. I have to emphasize that actually the vast majority of jobs overall in the department, so also in the armed forces, is civilian. Sometimes this gets confused also in the mass media with the very exciting cyber training for the military, but that's actually a very small part of the whole array that we have, right? Mm-hmm. In Uli's area, but also in, say, cryptography and actual cyber defense, or helping our intelligence service getting what they need. Those are extremely interesting and in-depth cyber jobs. They are all civilian. They are open to you women. And as I said, this is also the chance. There is one big chance that in Switzerland, the men having doing military service, it actually deters some people even to work in the civilian part of the armed forces, whereas many women come at completely unbiased. This is just another place to work with. So you have extraordinarily good chances where many men say, I want nothing to do with the military. Not like that, right? Yeah. Day to day, it's not a military thing.
No, not every day. I think my former life, I was already an officer in the military service. But I worked by Swisscom, a communication company. I think the biggest difference is the uniform. My first day when I come to work, it was really special to see all the people and the culture that you mentioned. But we try hard to change this culture, to have a new culture also in our Cyber Fusion Center, but also in the whole support organization, I think. But the culture was a very big difference. And next was the international cooperation, because in this job now I have a lot of contact with different international. I think this is for me a very difference, me as a little bit a language dummy, but I think it's also very interesting to meet different people with other backgrounds. I think this is really a big difference.
We have more and more proof that not only women are capable of understatements. He's doing an extraordinarily good job with his English.
I think it's a very good point that you brought up, Ruth, because I guess one can very much have a career in the Department of Defense without necessarily being or having done military service or anything like that, and maybe that's something that gets confused in the minds. So thanks for bringing it up. So there's a bunch of questions. I'm not sure which one. So what are the biggest cyber threats you experienced lately?
Apart from the employees themselves, right?
Well, it's the employees themselves.
Yeah, that's the biggest risk, I think, is normally the employee himself. But I think we have to fight against different actors or different threats. This starts with the script kiddies. They perhaps hate a little bit the army, and they goes to the cyber powers. And for me, that's a challenge to defend all these different actors. I think at the moment it's the ransomware is one of the biggest problem that we see, or that we realize that we can measure at the moment.
Okay. I think this is a very good question, maybe also for those who are not so much familiar. Can you explain the main difference between you and the NCSC?
Mm-hmm. Yes, the NCSC is the overarching cybersecurity, let's call it organization, for the government. Its chief, Mr. Florian Schütz, is all of our governments. So for all 7 ministers, he's the primary contact. And in there we have 3 areas: cyber security, cyber defense. That's where our ministry comes in with the armed forces, but also with other organizations like for science, or also for civil protection, who assess risks. And we have cyber criminality. So, and that's in the police department. So with our minister, Karin Keller-Sutter. So that's the 3 areas that you subdivide the threats in at the moment. Well, we don't have signs that it's going to change from today to tomorrow, but I'm just saying it's a very fast changing area. And as we were saying before, responsibilities keep being discussed. But so far, it seems to be working very well. There's a lot of exchange. There's also, and it's also not just the NCSC is dictating to everyone, this is what we're doing, go do it now. It's a dialogue. It's a constant way of making sure that we're all on the latest page and using everyone's resources. So even in the government, we act as a team, and we're all represented by our corresponding ministers.
Thanks. There was a question about the training. Seems to be a lot of curiosity around that. Are there any specific prerequisites, studies, training, anything like that?
In general,
for the cybersecurity training,
you have to do some assessments. I think at the end are 2 or 3 assessments that you have to do, and then we decide if you have enough knowledge to do this training, to go to the Cyberlehrgang.
Mm-hmm. And then also just to add to that, again, the vast majority of your cyber jobs, some of them that are extremely specialized, would be just as a preference to have a degree in natural or applied sciences, and all these skills that I mentioned before. The rest you will be trained in, be it programming, anything else. Or you could imagine being a person like me, say 20 years ago, then you start off with your cybersecurity training, maybe at the University of Zurich. There's cybersecurity, a very high level education. If you think you can go into programming, or you actually want a job that has a bit of both, that has a bit of communicating what it takes, or like Monika Rath, then you can do that. Yeah. So many opportunities. And very important what they say when I speak to section heads: do apply, don't understate. Yes, there will be assessing questions, but they're not very scary in that sense. They want to just show, or they want to see how you think and how you act if you're presented with an analytical problem. And based on that, they will assess. And yes, they've been taking very young women coming from a physics degree, with very little experience in programming. And I know one example, it's a complete success story. And she says she's being very well mentored, very well received. She loves the job. Situation.
Okay, and Lorena put the link for all the informations about the cyber training in the chat. There you can find more information. Our participants are always regularly students. We have also some people, they do the apprenticeship as informatics. And then, yeah, go on the site and call us if you have, if you are interested.
Okay, super. Thank you so much. It's 5 p.m. So we just are going to start the next Q&A sessions. I just wanted to maybe very quickly remind everybody that if you want to share your thoughts on why you love cyber, what or who inspires you for a chance to win some of the goodies that we mentioned that are Women in Cyber branded that we made specially for you. So just send us an email with that to info@womenincyber.ch. And thank you so much, Ruth and Uli. And maybe you'll be joining one of the Q&A sessions as well. Thank you for your time, and see everybody in a few minutes. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.